Hello, this is Charles Fockaert on November the 9th, 2017. This is number 23. Number 23 in the series On the Road with Charles Fockaert. Right now I'm on the bluffs overlooking Overton, Nevada. It's a pretty nice place to be, not having to move. After 4 days of not moving, I didn't start my truck, the RV, nothing. Yesterday, I went into town, got the hairs cut. Oh, by the way, before I forget, last night about, I don't know, just after sunset, the mice, I have a mouse in the house. He ran from the back. He likes to come in the back door and go out the front door here. I checked the peanut butter and I don't know, he's staying, he's a smart mouse. He's staying away from that peanut butter, but I'm going to get that little bugger. Anyway, in my previous video, I mentioned Psalm 34:19, and while I was in my Bible, I ran across these two little bookmarks, and I want to tell you the story about that. And by the way, if you want a copy of my book, I can send you a PDF file for free. Just get me your email, and I'll make sure you get a copy, like I say, no charge. I can't send you this book for free. It costs money to ship, etc. I put a lot of time and effort into this book, and a workman is worthy of his hire. There's several hundred hours of, the book is a great value, and especially if you can buy them at the used bookstore. I bought many, many books. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of books at the used bookstore that aren't worth a damn because most Americans don't read good books. Anyway, for all the hours you put in and the information you can get out of a good book, it's a very good investment. And I lost most of my library when I went overseas because my brother sold them because he had to make payments. See, my brother is one of those people that got to have everything new because they just can't live within their means. They got to put on this air of being important and by the things that they have. But anyway, I digress. I want to talk about this in my book. When I was in South Korea, I ran across Ernst Zundel being in the Mannheim prison. So I got it in an idea that I'm going to send Ernst Zundel my book. So I put this book in a package, and I sent it from South Korea to Ernst Zundel in Mannheim prison. And I kind of forgot about it, and then I don't know, a couple months later, I got a letter from him while I was in South Korea, and he told me that it was quite the miracle that my book got through because they usually don't allow books to come from private parties. They have to come from the bookstore itself. But somehow my book got through, and he read my book. And we corresponded there for a few weeks, maybe a couple, 3 months after that. And he sent me these bookmarks. You can see here 2008, I believe this one is. Yeah, 2008. So I was in South Korea in 2008. So Scripture says to visit those that are in prison. And I did that. And I got another couple stories I'll tell you about this book. But I understand Ernst Zundel passed away here not too long ago, and as did his wife a couple weeks ago, Ingram, I think her name was. And those are Ernest and his attorney, Edith Stoltz, I believe her name was, Stolz. She stood up for him, a brave woman, and truth doesn't matter anymore, folks. Truth is no defense. But I wanted to relate that story to you about my book, Deadbeat Dad. And by the way, you California property tax deadbeats, get off your dead butt and pay your property tax. And if you get your driver's license and your professional license taken away, good, you deserve it because you need to pay your fair share. Those children rely on that property tax for the brainwashing and the programming they receive, and you're depriving those children of a needed education. So I have no pity, no sympathy for you. You deserve everything you're getting, and California leads the nation. And I understand California is now the sanctuary state. And I'm not going into California, I don't think, ever again. And most of my family, if not all my family, is there. They're going to have to come to me because I'm not going into California. Alrighty. I wanted to talk about this little town, Overton, down here. Nice town. I kind of like these kind of towns. It reminds me of Mexico in a way because it's a landscape. I've been all over Mexico. I've traveled many, many, many weeks. I've been all over Mexico, and you know how the flat roofs and the landscape and the no high rises, and nice people here, folks. And there's a museum down here I want to go to. Lake Mead is to my west here, where the sun is coming up, and boy, does that feel good. And I talked to my buddies up there, the twins up in Montana yesterday, and they said they were shoveling 8 inches of snow off of the driveway. And they asked me how things were going up here, and I said things are going just fine. I didn't want to rub it in too much, but it feels good to be here. I wanted to talk about a couple things real quick. You ever notice, you ever wonder why there's so few of us and so many of them? They call them the masses. And I'm still reading Camp of the Saints. I hope to get through it. I'm about halfway through, and man, I've said it before. This is a very good, excellent read. The guy's a genius with words. He calls it, he's just got so many good things. You got to read this book, folks. I wish I had read it. I've had it in my library for quite a while, just haven't had time to get to it. I got a lot of books in my library. My buddy Ryan sent me one up there from Edmonton. He sent me one called Judaism Exposed, I think by Michael Hoffman, and I left it. Much to my chagrin, I left it up there. I can't bring everything in the RV, and that's another video here I'll get to sooner or later. But you ever ask yourself why do I ask myself, why do I bother? Why do I bother to try to promote the truth? I've been promoting the truth since at least the 80s, as I've mentioned before in the previous videos about the column I had in the paper. And I believe now, I look back, that's why they went after me. Outspoken on Christianity and the Constitution. And then later here in Montana, when I was falsely accused and sued by that wonderful lady, but she got took. The system took her for another $50,000, and that's just too bad, isn't it? But anyway, why even bother? I ask myself, because it brings nothing but heartache and problems and trouble. And I know that attorney here there in Montana shared, because the plaintiff, she watches my videos. I know she does. Okay, and she shared with her attorney my views, and I'm sure that the attorney was on the phone to the judges, and that's why the first judge wouldn't let me. He ruled against me, and he wasn't going to let me amend my complaint, but I appealed. And the Montana Supreme Court at that time didn't know the whole seriousness of the case, so I won that appeal. So back to the district court with a new judge, Kruger, and parentheses around his name, and then Newman, parentheses around his name. And boy, they're going to get me no matter what. And I know that attorney and those judges colluded. they colluded, and they're on the phone talking to each other. And it didn't matter if I was right or wrong or the false allegations. He was going to get paid because they had a sucker on the hook. And the judges were going to play along all the way to the Montana Supreme Court. We've got traitors all the way up, folks. Even John Tester, which I mentioned in the other video. But do you ever wonder why there's so few critical thinkers? There's so few of us. And there's so few of us, for instance, who knows who's who in the Jew. Sorry. Who know who's who in the zoo. We know the earth is level. There's no space. We never went to the moon. That we've been fed a bunch of lies. Almost everything we think we know is a lie. And why is there so few of us? The masses get their circus and bread, and they watch TV and they read the newspaper and they substitute, they think that's thinking. That's their mode, that's their form, that's their extent. That's the extent of their thinking abilities. They can read the newspaper, they're being told what to think, and they watch the news and they watch these movies, that programming. They don't even realize they're being programmed. And then when you come up with something totally off the wall, according to them, because they didn't see it on TV and they didn't read it in the newspaper, you got to be wrong and they got to be right. And, and that's why we're in such a mess in the world today. There's so few of us who know how to critically think. You know, they're pretty smart. I mean, they're intelligent in their own way. They're very good at what it is that they do, be it surgery or finances, or they run their business, or they're good engineers, they're good medical doctors. They think they know what they're doing, but they don't have a broad concept of the world around them. I remember when I was taking classes in economics, one of the first things I did in college is go buy a dictionary of economics. So every time there was a term or a word that I didn't understand, a concept that I didn't understand, I'd look in the dictionary. And I would take my notebook and I'd make little boxes around these different meanings of these words. And when the professor was teaching, I would write down a concept. And if a critical thinker can listen to what somebody's saying and pick out the most important things, and then I would put them in the little boxes, and then I would connect all the boxes together so that I had a broad overview. And I didn't have to cram, and I didn't have to spend all-night Virgil in the library. I got so many of my roommates and buddies were, I'm at home listening to Pink Floyd or 10 Years After, and they're all down at the library, and they're cramming. They got A's. Well, I got a 3.2 average when I got out of college, and I hardly studied at all. In fact, the last couple years of my schooling, I was working. I took classes on Tuesday and Thursday. We had a quarter system. You can have classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday. So I took the classes on Tuesday and Thursday, and I was working Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday most of the time, and I was making a lot of money. I had my own business. I bought a rototiller, and I went out and I was rototilling gardens. And then I'd have a handyman card, and I was working, man. I had a lot of work. Sometimes I'd making $200 a day as a college student, and in 1970s, early 70s, that was a lot of money. So, and then from there I went on to become a successful real estate developer, and then the government comes in and takes it all away. Alrighty. But hey, that's life, and that's the way it is, and I'm glad that there's another life coming. There's another life coming, and I'm doing my best to be faithful in this life, because this life compared to the next life is like a flat beer, last night's flat beer. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for supporting this channel. And may the grace of God, our Father, Yahweh, may His grace be upon us all, for we certainly need it. See you.
I'm not walking with the Lord like I used to. It's like temptation's got a hold of me, and I cry at night 'cause I ought to, and the praise to Him I hold, I'm on my bended knee. From the road I chose to raise my family, in the morning. Forgiveness, the less I saw of grief, and the more I watched His children in their eyes, I saw His light. Thank you, Lord, for the blessings. Thank you for the ride. Well, I